Hi, I'm Andy Murray. Welcome to It's a Customer's World podcast. Now more than ever, retailers and brands are accelerating their quest to be more customer-centric. But to be truly customer-centric, it requires both a shift in mindset and ways of working, not just in marketing, but in all parts of the organization. In this podcast series, I'll be talking with practitioners, thought leaders, and scholars to hear their thoughts on what it takes to be a leader in today's customer-centric world. Hello. In this special bonus episode of It's a Customer's World, I invited advertising industry legend Kevin Roberts to take on 21 University of Arkansas students in a free-flowing, no questions off-limits session to get his thoughts on marketing, building Lovemarks, career advice, and lessons he's learned on his journey. And Kevin did not disappoint. In true Kevin style, he shared candid advice, anecdotes, and wonderful stories that I found truly inspiring. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Welcome, everyone, to this special episode where I've got the privilege of being with two really special people, Molly Rapert, who's an outstanding professor at the University of Arkansas, and a great friend and a very innovative marketer. And joining us is Kevin Roberts, who needs no introduction. Kevin, a long lifetime mentor of mine, which you blame him for anything that I say. And Kevin has generously offered to give us 90 minutes of question and A, unchained, live feedback on some of the toughest questions that Molly and her classes ginned up for us to respond to. So we have about 21 students or so that have thought about some things that are important to them and have some questions for Kevin. So Molly, I'm going to turn over to you to introduce students and get us going. And before I do, Kevin, do you want to say anything before we get started?
Well, I'm real close to you guys. I'm in carefree Arizona, where I've been for the last 12 months out in the desert here, isolating. So this actually is the highlight of my day because I'm going to talk to 21 new friends. Desperation has many friends, right? So I'm on this to have fun. My personal focus is to make happy choices. And there is nothing in the world that I would rather be doing now than this. Otherwise, I'd be doing it, okay? So I'm up for this. You can ask me anything you want. This is everything you wanted to know about leadership, business, life, your plans, and we're afraid to ask. So it's going to be unplugged, unfiltered, and uncut. So have fun. I'm going to.
Okay, Molly, with that.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to welcome my amazing Rapert marketing students. But first, I'd like to say thank you to Andy and Kevin and Caitlin for all they've done to make today happen. I've taught for 30 years, and I can promise you that I never anticipated a day where I would have an advocate as strong as Andy and to be on a Zoom with Kevin Roberts. This is really amazing for me as a longtime fan of both of you. And thank you for serving my students so well and allowing all of us this opportunity. It's a happy choice for me, Kevin.
Hi, my name is Taylor Zadarin, and I am a senior marketing major with a minor in management. Upon graduation,
with a minor in what?
Management.
Oh, okay.
And upon graduation in May, I will begin my career in the tech industry at Qualtrics. And Kevin, when talking about Lovemarks, which you describe as loyalty beyond reason, you mentioned that marketing is dead. The role of marketing is to create a movement. It's no longer about building a brand. As a soon-to-be graduate who has just spent 4 years studying marketing, this is exhilarating and concerning at the same time. What would be your best advice for me to keep top of mind and take into my future career that will allow me to be the most valuable hire to a company that I can be?
Okay, I wrote a book called 64 Shots, which was 64 ideas about leadership. And in one of the early chapters, I talked about the need to write a personal purpose on a page, to actually spell out your inspirational dream, to really spell out who you are, your character attributes, what you believe, and not the normal nonsense, right? Vision, goals, objective, all this garbage. No, this is real. What's your dream? Who are you? What is your spirit? What's your very DNA? What gets you out of bed in the morning? What turns you on? What makes you happy? What is your focus? You know, at your tender age, for the next 5 years, what little footprints do you want to leave in the sand? So I recommend you get hold of that book on Kindle or wherever and read about personal purpose. Because if you don't know where you're going, all roads will take you there, right? I think the second thing for me is, I don't know what advice you've been given, but it's an important decision, your next decision to go somewhere and make an impact, but it's not a vital decision. The next 10 years for you should be experimental. They should be a joy of discovery, a voyage of curiosity, a voyage of finding out stuff, a voyage that is full of new and full of exploration and just full of fun. It should be the decisions you make now, make the big decisions with your heart, Taylor, not with your head. All this SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, threats, opportunities, that's yesterday's thinking. You just got to make a big decision with your heart, follow your passion. And then when you've screwed up in 6 months, just leave and start over. Okay, just toss it, man. It's experience, right? And then go to the next one, travel, poof. Now is a great time after this pandemic to imagine the unimaginable, right? To change everything. Because if we go backwards, what a tragedy. So you're in a great moment. Saatchi and Saatchi, Andy will tell you, we believe nothing is impossible. So make the big decisions with your heart, have a personal purpose, look to make impact, and have no fear. Have no fear.
Thank you.
Yeah,
the world is waiting for you, not the other way around.
I could just add to that. What Kevin just said is so true. I can't tell you how many meetings I was in with Kevin or brought him a really tough problem. By the time problems get to Kevin, they're pretty big. And the advice was, what's your heart say? That's a big decision. Make that one with your heart. And so it's a real, it's not just a motto. It's a real way of, like, these principles work in business. I mean, they absolutely work in business. And we're so data rich, but heart poor, that it was really refreshing to have that perspective. But yeah, just wanted to pipe in that's the way you actually lead. Yeah.
And I selfishly have to say this is my favorite topic so far, because this semester I have 3 executives from Procter & Gamble and VMLY&R who are investing about 20 hours with my students in digging deep into their values, beliefs, passion. We're not even talking about marketing concepts. And it will be this Thursday. So I'm delighted to hear this. Thank you so much.
Well, good for you. That's a good initiative.
Great initiative. Okay, next we have Danny, and she has a question about mystery for us.
Hi, I'm Danny Martinez. I'm a senior marketing major with a minor in management from Rogers, Arkansas. I'm interested in nonprofit and social media marketing. And I wanted to know how you would suggest businesses find the balance between being transparent enough to gain people's trust and respect, but also holding back enough to keep things mysterious.
That's a really mysterious question. And very, very deep question, Danny. That's a little cruel. I'm an old man, you should be going easier on me than that. The first thing I'm gonna say is that revolution begins with language. Revolution begins with language. That's how we change worlds. That's how we create movements initially, with language, right? And you're probably learning that. And I want to comment on one word you used, right? How would you suggest business finds a balance? I hate the word balance. So balance to me implies balance, moderation. I have to compromise, right? I have to give something up. I don't want to live my life like that. One of the words in my personal purpose is uncompromising. I don't buy balance. Work-life balance, I think, is a crock of average mediocrity. What I think we should use is the word blend. The best wines are not balanced. They're a blend of different grapes, Cab Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet, which when you blend them like an alchemist, like a magician, you get ecstasy. And I don't mean the drug. You get into a great place, okay? So I think how the question that you're asking is, how do we blend trust and respect, where we are open and we share at the same time? We want mystery. And all I can tell you is just go watch Netflix, because they do this fantastically, man. Right? They keep you every episode. I've just been watching a show 000, which is Roberto Saviano on Amazon, which is an amazing production. He wrote Gomorrah. And this guy involves you. He's transparent about drug smuggling. He's transparent about corruption. He's transparent about the complexity of the cartel in Mexico and low income, and the shippers who are all Americans from New Orleans, and the Calabria, the mafia in Italy. He's transparent, but the mystery is unbelievable, right? I mean, you binge watch stuff, right? Unless you're some kind of real. And then, so how do these great do? And they do it through one word, Danny, which is story sharing, not storytelling. Storytelling's dead. We don't want to be told a story. We want to be involved, engaged in this story. And when you're creating a brand, forget telling a story. Even when you're talking to little kids, 3 and 5-year-olds, they want to be in the story. They want to share it with you. So somehow you've got to use language, innovation, creativity, imagination, okay? All this stuff to share your story, to involve your customer, okay? Blend, not balance. Ban the word. We ban the balance.
So our next topic is one that you've already touched on briefly, talking about being nomadic and a vagabond, but I think Manny's going to have us drill deeper into that.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Kevin, for coming to do this. My name is Manny Mejia. I graduated back in 2019 with an accounting degree, and I'm finishing.
Wash your mouth out, Manny. Wash your mouth out. And then you saw the light?
Yes, and now I'm finishing my last semester of my MBA. I'm getting it in the marketing. So
good boy.
Interestingly enough, this summer I actually will begin my career at PepsiCo as an associate sales manager. So maybe one day in my career I'll follow in your footsteps and destroy a vending machine here and there. But anyways, I did hear you once say that people should spend their 20s being nomadic. That is exploring, connecting, collaborating, and making a difference. But is there like anything in particular that you think people in their 20s place as a low priority that you believe, in fact, they should actually place as a higher one?
First thing I think is to do an accounting degree and then marketing. That's a bloody good option. Good for you. You've got IQ, you've got to read the data, you got to understand the numbers, you got to understand the P&L, you got to understand leverage. It's a smart discipline to do. It's just kind of boring, right? So you've got that foundation, fantastic. Now add some flair. It'll help you in a sales situation because you're going to be, yeah, I think it's good IQ stuff. The EQ stuff, fantastic, right? Going to PepsiCo, great 7 years, competitive, aggressive, smart, time I was there, they were, and they're very diverse, you know, and all that. Time I was there, the big line that they used to tell me was, ready, fire, aim, in that order. And I said, what? No, you got, and they said, no, look, get ready, fire, boof, and then correct your aim. Don't waste your time. By the time you've got the first shot off, you've got more knowledge than the other guy who's still busy aiming, and he still has to correct. So ready, fire, aim. And it's from there that I learned fail fast, learn fast, fix fast. So going to PepsiCo is a great move. Going into sales, great move. I went on sales training at P&G for 5 months. Probably I learned more in that 5 months than I learned in 2 years in many places, because you're right there with customers, you're seeing consumers, you're having to flex. Brilliant way to start your nomadic journey. One thing people I think could learn is standards. I think a lot of people your age think they can multitask, which is bullshit, because all they do is they watch, they text, they listen, and they do them all averagely. Okay, and they believe they're these genius multitaskers. I don't think so at all. I have loads of evidence to suggest that I have 6 kids and 9 grandkids, so I know of which I speak, okay? And when they multitask, they're crap, okay? I think you guys have got to learn standards, and in terms of your own aspirations, people, I don't know, Jim Collins wrote about it, but the enemy of great is good. A lot of young people do things good enough, and good enough is never good enough, Manny. Good enough's never good enough, right? The way you do anything is the way you do everything. I'm judging you now based on your sports stuff, based on the way you're dressed, the jacket, the haircut, because I can't be with you, so I can only I judge you by the quality of the question, the way you handled with my coming at you differently, right? And you look buttoned down. You look already Pepsi pretty. You look like you're Pepsi, right? That's bloody smart, right? So I would urge you and your compatriots to think bigger, think faster, have high standards now, and you have one life, man. This is it. So shit, make it count, right? Have fun and look for greatness.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manny.
My name is Monica Uribe. I'm from Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I'm currently a senior and marketing major. And my
one of our best regional managers was Alberto Uribe. He was a brilliant guy at P&G. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, my question for you, Kevin, is you have mentioned that you joined Procter & Gamble in order to learn the language of business. If you were 25-year-old Kevin today, what company would you go to learn the language of business? And would it still be P&G? Why or why not?
Well, I think Manny's great for going to PepsiCo because they're with their brands, they're at the heart of pop culture. Procter & Gamble taught me everything I know about leadership and about values. They taught me about focus, commitment, discipline. Focus, commitment, discipline. They're not the most creative. They're not the most innovative. Mary gave me that stuff. But P&G, man, they instilled upon me, you got to do what's right when no one's looking. You got to do what's right when no one's looking. And I never forgot that. And they are driven by purpose, by principles, by value. John Pepper, Ed Arts, A.G. Lafley. And they are a real, Lovemark for me, I guess. I'm still friendly with everyone I work with. So P&G is still I don't know how old they are now, Andy, 180 years old or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They are impressive on the leadership front, on a marketing front, and so on. They're not the best though now. For me, if I had to answer your direct question, where would I go to learn the language of business, the basics of business? There's only one answer for me, and that's Amazon. I worked with Amazon. I had them as a client for a while. I work with them now I'm on a board of a grocery chain in the UK, and we do a lot of business through Amazon. Andy knows it's a boutique chain, Booz. Some of my best friends work there. I don't like them as a company. I don't like them. I don't like the way they treat their people, right? They burn them out and all this stuff. But I hold them in. It's not a long-term career, right? But man, these guys, Amazon make every company they work with better. They do the stuff. They are on it. The last detail. They're on the last detail. They're functionally brilliant. They're strategically sound. And they are way more innovative than Apple. And they are way more innovative than Tesla. And they are way more innovative and imaginative than all Facebook and all these glory guys. They value innovation and imagination. They just sweat you. You're just an asset for them. You're a renewable asset. You've got a 3-year burnout time. So you got to leave 2 years in and screw them before they do it to you, right? Before you get burned out. But the learning you will get is immense. They know more about consumers and customers than you know about yourself. They know more about you than Apple because you told them everything. And they use AI brilliantly. So I love P&G, respect P&G. I would never turn them down. PepsiCo, you learn to be a warrior and to compete. Amazon, you become a man or woman of steel. If you can suck it up for 2 years, because you have no personal life, no private life, but everything else, boom, you get sharp elbows.
Yeah, Kevin, I would just pile on there. I think you're absolutely spot on. That would be the company I would pick for sure, and for the same reasons. But I think the other thing that's important about that is you learn velocity and at the speed of decision making. I mean, it's right. in the new game now. It is velocity, and so you're not going to learn velocity in typical CPG because you got 18-month development times, and you just need that speed to get life learning in the amount of time you're going to spend there. So yeah.
Would Walmart make a shortlist for you, Andy, or not?
I was thinking about that, and I think more macro. Any retailer. It's just interesting that retail space is so fast, and it's a fast game, that. And you get speed, whether it's like the Boosts in the UK. I would take that. I would take any retailer that's dealing with to learn business and customer and data and all the things that have to happen. You just get the fullest perspective in the shortest amount of time, and you'll work like dog years in a week. So
and you have the supplier thing, you have the consumer thing. You have the media thing. I think it's food retailer. I'm not sure it's.
Yeah, I don't think it's fashion. Yeah, I think you're right. It's something that's got that transaction velocity where you see your idea, you put it in play, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a job at Whole Foods, it's a real interesting combination of the two things, I think.
Yeah.
We are going to jump to leadership as a topic, and Maddie is going to kick us off.
Hi, my name is Maddie Braun, and I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm double majoring in marketing and supply chain and minoring in economics. And I viewed a podcast where you mentioned that the world lacks leadership, hope, and optimism. And how would you describe your leadership style? And as a leader, how have you tried to bring more hope and optimism?
Why don't you ask Andy? Because I was his leader for a while. Andy, how would you answer that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I lots of different ways. I'll give you a couple quick stories that would probably put it in perspective. When when Kevin, we sold the company to Saatchi, and I hadn't had a boss in 10 years, so I didn't really remember what that was like. And I remember after the bank cleared the check, calling up Kevin and said, "Okay, okay, boss, I haven't had a boss in a long time. What is this about, and what do we do?" And his response was, and I'll never forget it, was, first of all, never call me boss. Think of me as your older brother. You're my younger brother. Let's go change the world. And that was it. That was all he said. And I think that was inspired. He knew what I needed to hear as an entrepreneur that was trying to get back into what this bigger holding company world was like, and the attitude that I needed to have. And I think that was brilliant. And so I think I've learned so many things from a leadership side of actual leadership, that I call that actual leadership, or sitting down in a performance review, which we didn't have that often, and saying, okay, you already know what you're good at. Why should I sit here and tell you what you're not good at? Because you're not going to change that anyway at your age. And so why don't you just focus on the things that you're really good at? And again, that's knowing his audience and knowing what I needed. I don't know if he said that to everybody, but it certainly got me focused on the things I could really make a difference in my strengths. And so I could give you loads and loads of anecdotes like that, of authentic leadership that comes at it from a very different angle than what most people do. And I think if you read the book 64 Shots, a lot of those things that I learned and saw firsthand from, looking at a 90-day plan or 100-day plan, looking at, all the elements of practices. I think most of your best practices of leadership are in 64 Shots. And so I use that over and over again. And so that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Andy. So to summarize your question, which was great, right? I practice inspirational leadership. Andy talked about it, not management, not control. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. So when I hear you're all minoring in management, that makes me really worried, because that means you're going to do things right. I take that as a very important building block, and I'm glad, because doing things wrong is not super helpful all the time, but it's not the point, right? I wish you were majoring in leadership, minoring in leadership, not management. Management, doing things right, leadership, doing the right things. My view is not command and control. It's not servant leadership or any of this nonsense you read about. It is inspirational leadership. The role of the leader, you just heard Andy describe what it was like, is frankly to inspire everyone you touch to be the best they can be. So I look at Andy and see an entrepreneur who hasn't had a boss, just showing the goalpost and get out of the way. You get someone who's come from P&G, that won't work for them, because they're used to having their hand held and led and directed and discussed, right? So your role as the leader, inspire everyone to be the best they can be. Your second job is, as a leader, create other leaders. Create other leaders. We don't want followers, right? I mean, I'm talking to you because you're the leaders of tomorrow. I think. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much.
We are going to turn to our last topic, and that is life. And I believe Caitlin is going to start us off with a great question.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Collison. I'm from Edmond, Oklahoma. I'm an international marketing major and a minor in Spanish. And my question is, what is something you know now that you would go back in time and tell your younger self?
Two things. I've been asked this question before, right? Because people are looking, letter to yourself and all this stuff. And Bob Salert, who was a chairman at Saatchi and Saatchi, and a really influential guy for both Andy and I, and he approved the extortionate price that we bought Andy's company for, that Saatchi's still paying for, but luckily Andy paid it back to us in 2 years through outstanding results. But it's now afforded Andy the millionaire lifestyle to which he's become accustomed, because he did in truth build an unstoppable Lovemark in the company. Bob Stiller told me, he actually wrote a book about it. Start with the answer and work back. Start with the answer and work back. So make sure you have a dream, Caitlin. Make sure you have a focus that you can articulate in one sentence and work back from that. I had a dream when I was 14. I had another one when I was 21. And I'm really pleased I had that. What I didn't do, which I would do, is what my focus is now, which is make happy choices. I made a lot of choices that didn't make me happy for all kinds of reasons that I convinced myself, for money, for location, for experience, for learning. And I was wrong to do that. I should have backed myself more, made happier choices. It's like people say, you know, should I take a job for the money or because I love it? And I took jobs in those days, sometimes for the money, because there was big money floating around. And I wanted to make my family secure, because I had a kid when I was 17. And I wanted to make them secure and stuff. And I don't know if it was the right thing to do. My advice now to my own kids, well, 6 of them was, and they followed it, was when you make a choice like that, make the choice that you're passionate about, and then figure out how to make money out of that. So, you know, follow your passion and then figure out how to make money. And if you're smart, the money will come. And if not,
Thank you.
Worst that can happen is you're happy.
I want to say I'm thinking about how different some of my students are and their interests. And I think the one thing they all have in common is they're raised in an era of technology. So I'm going to try and do one more thing as you gave the advice to Mackenzie, one other thing. And I'd like to bring on Jonah for one last question about technology, because I think this is something that each student on this call will face as a challenge.
Hey, again, I'm Jonah Rapert, and I'm a senior marketing major, and I work for
How
Modtech
did you
Marketing.
get a second crack at this, Jonah? Have you got it in with the teacher or something?
I think I might know the teacher a little bit. Distant relative.
Yeah. Well, there's no point having power unless you abuse it.
Yes.
Of course. Well, I was going to say, I'm inspired by your remarks on technology and how it can either be harnessed for success or it can dominate your life. It's more relevant for my generation than it has ever been. So what are some personal routines that you use to protect yourself from the negative side effects? And just like thinking of it now, what advice would you give to like your own grandchild who's growing up in the world that we're about to be growing up in?
Yeah. I mean, it's the social issue of the day. You've seen all the media about this now. It's the biggest mental health problem we're facing. It's the biggest productivity and efficiency we're facing. And I'm confident that humanity will deal to it and reharness it, because it is also the greatest liberator that we've ever known, right? It's just a brilliant connector, and it has the downsides. So I believe that I've called this the screen, the mobile phone in particular, is what I would call the weapon of mass distraction. And, we've got to bend it to our will so it makes us happier, more effective, and more positive, not vice versa. So 3 simple rules. Rule number 1, does it help me or harm me? That's rule number 1. If it harms me, you've got to get that notification off. You've got to get off Twitter. You've got to get off Instagram. I don't care. Does it help or harm? You may only go off for 3 weeks. You may only go off for 6 hours. Does it help or harm? And don't fool yourself. Number 2, no screens in your bedroom. None. No phone. I know it's your bloody alarm clock. Buy an alarm clock. Okay, that's not good enough, because it sits here lurking at the back of your primeval brain and doesn't let you sleep properly. No screens in the bedroom. No iPad, no phone, no TV, no nothing. Okay. Rule number 3, and that's the end of the rules. You do not look at your screen for 45 minutes after you've awoken. No exceptions. despite what you might think, the world can move without you for 45 minutes. In those 45 minutes, you breathe, you get your endorphins released, you mindfulness, you visualize, you meditate, you have coffee, you go for a run, you do anything. Do not do it on your bloody screen. The screen will still be there. The notifications will still be there. Your friends will still be there. For 45 minutes, get your head and your heart into shape. I do all three of those things.
Wonderful time, Kevin. This has been really gracious of you. And
You
Molly,
will
thank
be
you for
punished for the extra half hour, Molly. You will be punished, Andy. I will find ways to punish you.
I got a feeling it's
applaud you
coming.
on I applaud you on your initiative. I applaud you on your risk-taking. I applaud you on making happy choices. I applaud you for setting a great example to your students of breaking the rules and begging for forgiveness later.
Yes.
I have enjoyed this enormously. I meant what I had to say before. If you find a way, Molly, that you want to do something else, Andy, I'm sure will help you. So thank you all, everyone, for giving up 2 hours of your time.
I do beg forgiveness, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. And thank you.
You are forgiven.
Yes.
You are forgiven gracefully, and I honor you. Andy, thank you so much. I got to run.
Thank you, guys.
Hasta la vista.
That's it for this episode of It's a Customer's World. If you found this helpful and entertaining, I would be so grateful if you could share our show with your friends. And I'd be super happy if you subscribe so you can be updated as we publish new episodes. And if you really want to help, leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. It's a Customer's World podcast is a product of the University of Arkansas Customer-Centric Leadership Initiative and a Walton College original production.